So you want to read the Powerless series, but you're not sure where to start, what it's about, or you need some tips and tricks before going into it because it seems to be a pretty controversial book series. Hey bestie, welcome back to my channel. My name is Deanna Marie and I am so happy that you're here with me. Today we are diving all into Powerless, the Powerless series, some things you should know before going into it, what I rated it, my favorite books, and so on and so forth. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right on into it. So we have the beautiful Powerless series right behind me. Let me go ahead and grab it real quick. Oh gosh, I'm trying to keep it from falling. Okay, there are 5 books in the Powerless series. We have Powerless, oh my gosh, it's slipping. Powerful, Reckless, Fearless, and Fearful. Let me put these down before they fall. I'll just set them down here. Okay, so to begin with, we have Powerless. This is book 1. It actually was originally a trilogy, but then she went ahead and put in 2 novellas as like the fillers. So there's book 1, book 1.5, book 2, book 3, and book 3.5. So for the series overall, I give Powerless a 6-star read through the series. Now, I'm not judging based on writing style or maybe how professional the writing was or anything like that. I don't really take that into consideration. I really am just thinking about how much did I enjoy the book? Would it get me out of a book slump? Did I have a fun time reading it? Did I really enjoy myself reading it, basically? And so for Powerless, yes. The entire series, yes. For me, especially when I was reading it, it was a 6-star read. Now I have to remember everything about it, but when I was reading it, I could not stop raving about it. I made all my content about it. I had so much fun with it. I really loved it. It actually got me out of a very long book slump. So if we're getting into the nitty-gritty of the first book, which was Powerless, like we said, I felt like it was a little slow in the beginning, but actually wait, before I get into that, let me give you some disclaimers. So the reason this series is so controversial is a lot of people say it's very similar to The Red Queen. I haven't read The Red Queen. I actually felt like it was really similar to, or not similar, but there were some things that reminded me of The Hunger Games specifically, just like the trials and how the announcer for the trials, like the interviewer, she was wearing all of these loud, fun outfits and had this fun hair. But then again, everyone in this world, I guess you could say, kind of has some different colored hair or different things because of, you know, the plague and everything like that that they went through. So for me, it kind of reminded me of the Hunger Games just because of the trials in the first book. But again, I haven't read Red Queen, so I can't really give an opinion on that, but I know that I was getting lots of comments under my videos to read Red Queen and compare them. So that might be a book video in the future that we do. Another thing to know going into it is that she was actually a lot younger when she wrote these books. Don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure she was maybe 18, somewhere in there. I can't remember for sure. I don't want to mix up her and Sarah J. Maas, but I know she was definitely younger. She was a teenager whenever she wrote the first book, and so keep that in mind. And she's self-published. So she's self-published before a bigger publisher picked her up and helped her publish it in that publishing house and all of that. And so keep that in mind that you can tell it's a little bit younger writing. It's a true YA romance. It's a romantasy. It's a romance-heavy romantasy, which I really loved. It was more heavy on the romance aspect than just the fantasy. So if you're going into it wanting a huge plot, I wouldn't say it's like only plot driven. I don't really think there's anything wrong with the plot. I loved it. Like I said, it's a 6-star read for me. I loved it. I could not stop raving about it. I would recommend it to everyone. It took me out of the biggest slump I ever had. I'm telling you, I loved it so much. But yes, definitely know that going into it, because I know there were some chapters where it started out with Kai and I felt like it was kind of repetitive, like, you know, he was training, or it always started out with him training, or he just finished doing something as the enforcer. But also I know that was needed for, you know, that was kind of his character and we were just learning him in the beginning of the book. And actually definitely pay attention to different details because it does come up later in the series. And so I enjoyed it. I even reread Powerless because I wanted to make sure I got everything out of it, because I had heard there were Easter eggs and different stuff in Powerless that you'll need to know as you go later in the series. So I loved it so much, I reread it from the beginning. I really enjoyed it, and I'm not usually a rereader, but I really, really liked it. And so for me, it could just be because I was a little slow to read it at first. It was a little slow in the beginning, but then again, you know, you kind of needed to let the world build, and there's not crazy world building. It's not so intricate like a Sarah J. Maas book. And so it's perfect if you're just getting into fantasy, just getting into romantasy. Even as someone that's read romantasy, I still loved it so much. It didn't take so much brain power that, you know, I couldn't read it before bed. I still loved it. And if you miss different details or different things in it, it usually was repeated. And so I felt like that was so nice, because I didn't feel like, okay, I have to remember every single detail, absolutely everything, because it usually was repeated again later. And I really actually enjoyed that a lot. And so yes, just going into it knowing, okay, she was younger when she wrote this, she self-published, then it got picked up. There are some similarities between different books. Knowing that going into it, you're gonna like it a lot more, and also knowing that it's a romance-heavy romantasy. Another thing to know before going into this, it's a enemies to lover, and not enemies to lovers, and not just a regular enemies to lovers. I really appreciated the fact that out of this entire series, this really was true enemies to lovers, because I feel like a lot of books claim to be enemies to lovers, but really it's like insta love almost. It's like they're enemies for like this much, and then they're lovers for this much. But I really loved that she did keep consistent in the plot of everything. Like I said, the plot is not bad. I still enjoyed it a lot. I didn't want it to sound like what I had said earlier, like it was a bad plot. It's not. It was still a great plot. I'm just saying it wasn't like, you know what I mean, just only plot focused. There was also the romance there, if that makes sense. I still loved it. So this book follows Peyton, which is the main character. She's powerless, and she lives in a world where everyone has powers, and they're actually the ones that don't have powers. And so she's been living her whole life pretending that she has powers as a psychic. Her dad trained her to have those, and then she meets the enforcer. So he's actually in charge of all the powerless people, I guess, within the world. And what happened is that a plague fell upon them. Some people got powers and some people didn't, and the ones that didn't got. And so I'm not going to share too much more about it because I don't want to spoil anything, but it's those two main characters. And get your tissues ready, because there are some sad things that happen in this, and just know that going into it. And please don't research too much about this series if you haven't read it yet, because I got that big sad thing spoiled for me, and I was just devastated. So don't let anyone spoil that for you, and just don't read too much into it. Just go right into it. Also, I just wanted to show this because I really appreciated it. I know it's random, but oh shoot, I hope I don't spoil anything by doing this, but do you see how like pretty those covers are? I love when they do that, like when the chapter covers have beautiful designs, and I really loved these. Okay, following that book, we get Peyton's best friend Adina's point of view in this book, because some things were left with questions out of Powerless, or I was at least, and I was like, okay, well, how does that fit in, and how did that happen, and where did that even, like, where did these people cross paths and different things like that? And so that's where Powerful, did I say Powerless before? That's where Powerful comes into play. And actually, taking a second for the book, I really love it. It has like this beautiful string, and then I love how it's blue, and then the inside's blue. But blue's my favorite color, so I could be biased. But anyways, this is following Peyton's best friend Adina, and then someone else in this point of view, but you're gonna need to read this before you go into the last book. Well, not last book, second to last book, Fearless. I recommend reading this book second, because I know you can read it in different orders, but I do recommend reading the second, because even though the other book leaves on a cliffhanger, this fills in the gaps of the story that you might be wondering about. This fills that in, and it gives you perspective into another character that has not been mentioned before that you need for the rest of the books. I thought this one was sweet. It kind of answered some different things that I had, and this can also be a tearjerker for some people because of the emotion behind it, but I still loved it. Okay, and then going next in order, we have Reckless. Before I went into this one, I just heard that it's cat and mouse. They're going back and forth, and yes, absolutely 100%. I loved this one a lot because, again, I'm gonna try not to spoil anything because I know that's the worst thing, but let's just say it's a lot of cat and mouse, but then there's also beautiful scenes as well. And the ending of this one, thank goodness I did not have a spoiler on the end of this one, because I didn't have that spoiler. I think this book, out of all of them, is actually my favorite out of the series. And I know that might be crazy to some people, because a lot of people, the third book in the series is usually, I know this is like technically the second, but third one if you're going out of the full 5. Anyways, I know for some people, the middle book can kind of be like the, okay, we're getting filled in on some stuff. Maybe it's not as quick paced. But because of the ending on this book, I'm telling you, it was my favorite one out of all of them. I really, truly believe this one was my favorite one because of the ending of this one. And there's some point of views. It adds a few point of views. I think it starts in this one where it adds a point of view. Again, I'm trying not to spoil anything. That sometimes you're like, why is it adding that point of view? But keep them in mind because you will kind of need them later, if that makes sense. But yes, cat and mouse, and then crazy ending. I can't say too much more. Then you jump into Fearless, and this book is huge. Okay, so I was like, okay, we have read on the title, I feel like it's about to be crazy. Yes, insanely crazy. I did not, okay, as we were going through the book, I expected the ending, but there were some things in here that I didn't expect, and it was so good. There's some more like traveling and some voyages and different things in this one, but then there's tons of twists and turns and tons of stuff that's like, boom, here's something, boom, here's something, boom, here's something, boom, here's something. And there's tons of like little plot twists that are big to the story, if that makes sense. And so this one I liked a lot too, because there were so many things getting thrown at you that you weren't expecting, or maybe you did expect it, but I didn't. Some of the things, one of the bigger things at the end I did expect, and I don't think I had that spoiled for me before. I'm pretty sure I didn't, but I think it was just leading up to it. Again, there's another point of view in here that you might be like, oh my gosh, they just did that in the other one, and now here's a different point of view, but it is needed, I feel like. So it might feel like, oh, why are they doing that? But I do think it adds to the story in the long run, because it adds. You just have to trust me on that. It's not my favorite with those, but it's still, could she have gone without it? Yes, but I still feel like it did help. Okay, and then following this one, we get into Fearful. Now, I started this book and then DNF'd it. And I think it's a soft DNF because I've seen people cry over this book. And so now I'm like, okay, maybe I do need to read this book because maybe it'll fill in some stuff that I needed to know. I don't know how far I got into it. I don't remember. It's a pretty short book, I would say, because it is a novella. Yeah, it's only 200 pages, and so I might end up reading it anyways. But yeah, I went into it for a little bit, and then I didn't finish it because, again, I don't want to spoil anything, because if I say the characters, it might spoil something, it might not. But there's 2 characters in here, one that started getting mentioned. Did they get mentioned at the very end? I don't remember. But then another character that we know that's in here. I kind of felt like Fearless, right? That was Fearless. I felt like Fearless gave the ending that I needed, and I really felt like the conclusion and the ending tied up beautifully in a bow. Do I wish maybe the ending was a little bit longer, that we could see into that? Yes. In fact, I kind of wish we had a separate book just on that. Again, I'm trying to be vague so I don't spoil anything. I kind of wish we had a separate book just on that, and maybe this goes into it. Again, from the point of views of it, I don't feel like it will, but maybe it does. So I didn't read this one, but I'm not saying don't read it, if that makes sense. I just felt like I got the ending I needed on the other one, so I didn't necessarily need to go into this one, but I did go into it a little bit, and it was slow at first. The beginning kind of confused me, but it did pick up a little bit, but I jumped into another book series. But we'll But that is the ending of this review of Powerless and the Powerless series. Let me know down below what you thought of it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, because we're going to be doing lots more fun book content. And don't forget to follow my BookTok or my TikTok, and that's at DeannaMarie.14, as well as my Instagram at DeannaMarie.14, because we are going to be doing more content where I kind of cross-integrate the 3 platforms, I guess you would call it. And so, yes, don't forget to follow over there, and comment down below what you thought of it. If you had any other points that I maybe missed, maybe plot holes that I didn't see, what you thought about the comparison between this one and the Red Queen and all of that good stuff, what book video ideas I should do if you do want me to compare the Red Queen to this series, because I feel like it would be fun. So I guess we'll just have to see on that. But without further ado, bye sis, love you.